group that Larry had called the Prairie Dogs that helped this all happen. We got a prairie started, so that, of course, naturally it meant we needed to have a prairie shelter, and so this is version 2, hopefully the last version of a prairie shelter that we have here. So Larry, would you like to say a few words about the prairie?
Thank you, Dean Rhodes. Yes, indeed, it is always a delight to come back. And you realize that the first prairie dogs began their career here at OSUM very nearly 40 years ago. And many, many projects over the countryside have a beginning, but a very short and quick ending. And one of the things that has so impressed me and our family, and I still maintain some contact with those prairie dogs. One of them now is in the senior administration at the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington. Another one in Flagstaff, Arizona. And as we communicate, we marvel at how you folks here in the Marion community have continued to steward, expand, and build upon those foundations that we laid in those very early days. And folks, that is the most gratifying of all. And Marion community, you are to be commended many times over for the ways in which you have cared for the natural heritage that is a part of this very special place in Ohio. And you're going to hear very shortly on how I, as a very young botanist coming into the Marion community, was educated very quickly by Trella. And Trella, I am forever grateful for the mentoring that you have given to many of us as in the botanical community. Thank you many times over. Okay. So it's a delight to be back, and we would not have missed this day for anything. So.
Next I have Dave Claiborne here to provide a little bit of introduction for Trella before she makes her remarks.
Of course, that's an impossible task. Trella needs no introduction. She's been here in so many roles in the Marion community, and as Larry alluded to, one of them was recognizing that we have prairies here and recognizing that natural prairie out along the railroad tracks near her home, from which the seeds were gathered and all of this began. So Trella's done so many things, not only for this campus but for the entire community. As you know, she's integral in the beginning of the Historical Society here. She's run Hemmerly's Flowers for many years, and is herself an author of much of the history of Marion. Has either written it or lived it and recorded it. So she's also one of our latest donors. There is the Trella Romine fund here, scholarship fund, which has just been funded by Trella and with help from some of her former tenants. So all of those things make Trella Romine a really important person in Marion, Ohio, and to the Ohio State University. And Trella, we welcome hearing from you, and thank you for your contributions not only to this prairie but to the entire university and community. And thank you for being here. The smallest thing we could do is put your name on the front of this building. So thank you, Trella Romine.
Oh my. And all you dear people. I have so many memories with so many of you. As I look around, I'm going to cry. I got a speech. First of all, I'd like to thank all the people that Dean Rose saved, and Dean Rose especially. And we're here today as as you all know, to dedicate this new shelter house on the Larry Yoder Prairie. It replaces the original shelter house that was destroyed by arsonists about 5 years ago. Now, a new fireproof shelter house has been built. I'm honored to have it named for me. It was a long journey to bring us to today. I'd like to share some reminiscences. For years, I had yearned over the strip of prairie plants along the Conrail tracks east of State Route 98, just north of 309. My family had discovered the area in the late 1930s after reading about Kildare Plains in Dr. Edward Thomas's columns in the Columbus Dispatch. I identified big blue stem grass and prairie dock from his descriptions. I knew this area along the railroad tracks must be a prairie remnant, but I had no verification. But that changed in the mid-1970s when Dr. Larry Yoder, botany professor at Ohio State of Marion, visited me to see my greenhouse. When I asked Dr. Yoder if he would like to see a nearby prairie, he seemed skeptical. But he was willing to take a look. At the prairie, Dr. Yoder soon identified many prairie species from knowing them on the Indiana prairie remnants. Among them was blazing star, gray-headed coneflower, black-eyed Susans, sneezeweed, all in bloom, like they are around here today. Yes, this was a prairie remnant. This area is now known as the Clarendon Prairie. It is named for the township in which it's located. Guided tours are held there every summer, and I want to thank Gail Martin and Pencil Clare for their participation in leading those tours. Shortly after I told Dr. Yoder about the railroad prairie, he noticed a few clumps of big blue stem grass growing right over there. And this inspired him to create a restored prairie here. Members of his botany class became the prairie dogs. Are there any prairie dogs here today? No prairie dogs? Maybe you need some more prairie dogs. Who collected seeds from the Clarendon Prairie. They planted them in the campus greenhouse to propagate prairie plants for the restoration. They were successful. Just look. In early 1986, Ted Myers, Associate Dean, shared his concern with me about losing the campus prairie. Dean Hazard was suggesting that by renting it to farmers to plant crops, it would produce income. Ted felt that funding for the maintenance of the prairie was needed to prevent that. How did that happen? Well, we succeeded in persuading the Ohio Prairie Conference to meet at OSUM in 1986. The auditorium was filled to capacity. Speaker after speaker praised the creation of the prairie on the Marion campus. I was one of the speakers of the conference and presented a paper on the Sandusky Plains that includes this area. At the end of my presentation, I pledged my gift for the maintenance of the prairie. This began the Prairie Endowment Fund that saved the campus. And every time I went down to Cedar Ball for years, the director down there had been here. And as he'd see me coming in, he'd throw up his arms and he said, "Oh, here's the lady that saved the prairie." When Dominic DeTavio became dean of OSUM, he created the position of student prairie coordinator. Some of those filling the position have been C.D. Seiler, Deb Green, and Gail Martin, students in Dr. Robert Cliff's OSUM botany classes. While Gail was the student coordinator, she was instrumental in raising community awareness of the prairie. She created cross-curriculum programs for field trips by students. She planted rows of plants for future expansion and for sale. She started the Prairie Plant Sale that continues to be held on the first Saturday of May for the benefit of the Yoder Prairie. Larry returned to Marion for that 1986 Prairie Conference, and I was privileged to enjoy his delight in seeing the maturing of the prairie that he had created with the help of his botany classes. He also returned in 2008 when the campus prairie was named the Larry Yoder SU Campus Prairie, and a bronze marker was erected in his honor. And I'm honored to have him and his daughter here today. Thanks, Larry. I don't have much more. I also wanted to mention Kensel Clutter. He has contributed so much to this prairie restoration. His dedication is outstanding. His knowledge of prairie ecology is boundless. He has been a valuable source of education and advice from the beginning of its establishment. He has given time, seeds, and plants. He has led tours, mowed paths through the prairie, and removed alien plants. I hope in some way that Kensel's contributions can be remembered. As I look around here today, I know that some of you remember that first Shelterhouse here. Now we are making memories with a new Shelterhouse, and I'm truly honored to have it bear my name. May it serve in the years to come as a place where students and the community may come to enjoy a unique ecosystem and good fellowship like we are having today. Thanks to all of you who took time from your busy schedule. I thought maybe there would be 5 or 6 people.